Welcome to English 102. I am your instructor for this 8-week summer semester, Claim Dollinger. Before we get going and we get into what we're going to go over, I'll just introduce myself really quick. Once again, my name is Claim Dollinger. I grew up in a small town called Declo. It's not that far away from the Treasure Valley, but it's also small enough that you may have never heard of it. It's on the other side of Twin Falls, in the Burley, Rupert area. Anyway, that's where I grew up. I was born in Boise, but I grew up there. And I went to college and got my degree in English from Lewis Clark State College up north in Lewiston. After that, in 2018, I went to St. Mary's College of California, where I received my master's in creative writing. I got the job teaching at CWI a couple years after that, and came back to my hometown. I'm still living in Declo. It's like I said, it's a little bit of a trek to campus, so I only teach online right now. But it's been a real pleasure to work at CWI, and I'm excited for what this semester will bring for us. This is my first time teaching English 102 as an 8-week course, so it's going to be a little bit of an adventure for all of us. But this will be the format of the class. We'll talk about that a little more later, but there will be these lectures in this style that are posted weekly, usually one on Mondays or Thursdays. I am leaving open the possibility of other methods of kind of getting the material to you. Maybe just some slides without a video, or there's some other things we may do as a semester goes. Like I said, this is my first time teaching this course as an 8-week online only course specifically. So there's a little bit of room to see what works for you, the student, and what's not working. So please, as we go through this, make sure you stay in contact with me if you're having issues, if you're not able to view things, or whatever might be the problem that you have in this course. Make sure you email me, and I'm happy to figure it out with you. So let's start these slides. First off, here's kind of what we'll go over today. I already gave you my introduction. If we were in class together, it'd be your turn to give those introductions. You'll actually be doing that on the discussion board. We'll talk about that a little later. I know that some of you have already posted yours. Great job being on top of it and getting assignments done on the first day of the semester. Awesome. So other than that, we'll go over just kind of a course overview. We'll take a brief look at the syllabus. We'll look at Canvas. We'll go over the weekly. They're not meetings. I should have changed the wording here. This is still from the slides for the in-person class. But you will have weekly or bi-weekly lectures, or some sort of video, or something that you'll have to watch in addition to what's already in the Canvas. So you can see all of those assignments already in Canvas, but there'll be a few things that are added along the way. There will be these lectures or some other method of getting the content of this class, the instructions, tips about doing different things. Those are the kinds of things we'll talk about in class. One thing to note is this class will integrate some artificial intelligence into it. Many of you may not be fans of artificial intelligence. I know that I am not a fan. I think that it does a lot of damage to our brains when we offload the work that we need to do to the AI. Brain's a muscle. If we don't use it, if we use it less, just like if you're someone who hits the gym a lot, you've got a lot of gains on your arms because you've been benching a lot lately, and then you just suddenly stop for 2 weeks, you're going to see that the muscle tone is just going to vanish, right? The same thing happens with our brains. If we're not doing these tasks, if we're not thinking about how to do them, we're going to lose some of the ability to do so. So it's bad in that way. It's bad in other ways as well, which we can talk about. We'll write about in class, and I'm always happy to talk about with students if you want to meet with me in my drop-in hours or anything like that. But artificial intelligence is something that you are going to run into. Some fields have already integrated AI into them in a lot of, they're very integrated. You have to use it. If you're programming, you're probably using some AI tools. So it's not something that we can just ignore and not know how to use or know uh, how to interact with it in the best way possible, right? So it would be not to your benefit to just ignore it for this class. So we will talk about it. We will maybe use it, but it will not be required for any assignment that you actually use AI. So we'll talk about how to properly use it this semester. We'll talk about how to properly acknowledge it so you don't get in trouble with teachers or you don't get any plagiarism accusations, anything like that. So we'll go over that later in the semester. Uh, we'll have some discussion board posts about that as well in the first few weeks. So we'll talk a little bit about what's next. That won't be in the slides, but we'll kind of go to the canvas to show you what is expected of you and where this class is going to go. And then remember, if you have any questions, again, if this were in person, I would just give you some time, like 10 minutes at the end of the class, to answer all questions you have. But remember, if you're going through this lecture or you're looking through the canvas and you have any questions about the course, what's expected, anything like that, please reach out to me by email. We'll go over what my email is and all of the contact information that you'll need here in a moment. But please reach out if you do have any questions. I try to be very available to my students, and I try to reply to you as quickly as possible. Every once in a while I miss an email. I don't see it in I get quite a few. I get automatic emails from Canvas, emails from the department. Sometimes I might miss an email, it might get lost in my inbox. But 98% of the time you should get a response from me very quickly, like within a few hours. Let's go over all those things. So what is English 102? What's different in 102 than 101? The numbers are only not one different, but there are big differences in the classes. And the biggest difference is that English 101 is not a research-based course. It does not require any, at least in how I teach English 101, it doesn't actually require any research on the part of the student. All of the resources that you need are given to you as part of the assignment. This class is not like that, however. Instead of just using the things that I give you to say what you have to say, to come to an opinion, argue something, we're going to be also doing the research part of this. We're going to learn how to do research, how to choose good sources, what sources we might want to stay away from. All of those things are things that we will talk about in this class. So that's the big difference. This class is research focused. So we will focus on high quality peer-reviewed sources. Those are the sources that we really want to use. And the other difference is from 101 to 102, the essays in 102 are a little bit longer, usually like a page or two longer. They're not usually like twice or three times as long, something like that. So if you took English 101 and now you're taking 102, some of you may have tested out of 101 and be taking 102 now. But if you took 101 and now you're taking 102, you'll notice there's just a little more work on your end for the research, and the papers are a little bit longer and you have to use more sources. So what should we know about this section specifically? Well, obviously this is a remote course. We are not meeting in class. This isn't hybrid. We're also not meeting synchronously online. So this class is kind of all on your shoulders. All of the work that you will do, all of the resources that you need, aside from the research that you do, you will find them in Canvas. So 99% of this class is going to be you working in Canvas. So let's talk about what are the things that we'll do over the course of this class. So for the first 3 weeks, which are the first 6 modules in Canvas, we'll look at those here in a bit. But we are going to be focusing on exploratory research, how to research a subject, to come up with a subject. We're going to look at all the things out there, see what different sources say, kind of figure out what are the best sources, and gather our information. And we'll be writing what we call a problem and solution essay, where you identify a problem, something that you see in the real world, and we'll go over the first essay's prompt here exactly later. But a problem solution essay is one that you'll write quite frequently, where you come up with a problem, you say, here's something in the real world that needs a solution, here's what I think is the solution and why we should do it. So it is argumentative in that you're not just doing research about what the problem is, you have to propose a solution and convince your audience that that solution is the best one, or is the one that we should try. Something along those lines. The other large assignments for this course will be a media analysis and a rhetorical reflection, which will take up the last 5 weeks of class between the two of those. So if you're following along here and thinking about it, wow, that's a lot to write in 8 weeks. The course of this class is very brisk, and the time that it is necessary to do a good job in this class, produce passing writing, is substantial. So that is something that you should know going in. This class will be very fast and will require hard work on your part to do well. Saying that all said, remember, as I said on the previous slide, if you have any questions at all, you've got issues, you don't know how to fix your essay, you're really stuck on your essay, that's what my drop-in hours are for. That's what email is for. Please reach out. I'm happy to help you at all stages of the writing process, and I'm happy to help you fix whatever problems you might run into. Writing is difficult, and 2 heads are always better than 1. That is one of the things you'll learn as you write more and more. Getting other people's feedback is kind of the most important thing to writing. That's how you will improve the best, is by showing the writing to others and getting their feedback and them telling you this is what's working and this isn't what's working, or asking you questions like, what did you mean here? And you realizing, this wasn't very clear, I need to make my writing a little more clear. Those are the kinds of feedback that another person can give you that are really helpful and can help you get a lot better at writing. More than just writing into the void, editing it yourself, trying to get better and not really knowing what you're doing. So we will do some peer reviews, etc., over the course of this semester to kind of model that and get you used to doing that. I think that's all I want to say about that right now. We'll kind of return to these ideas throughout this lecture. Like I said about AI is all around us, and we will think about it quite a bit in our first few weeks of class. You may use it in class. You may use it at different stages of the writing process. I'll talk about when to use it, how to use it, what's okay to use it, what's not okay to use it in the writing process as we get into the semester. So you don't need to know all that right now, but you may use it throughout the course. You are not, however, required to ever use it. So if you are a staunch, AI, opponent of AI, I don't want to use it. I don't want to, I don't want the water usage that's going to be required for my one query. I don't want to do that. Morally, I'm against it. If that's you, that's fine. You don't need to use it. But it would be a disservice for me to just ignore something that is kind of becoming ubiquitous and is really being pushed by, the powers that be, the tech industry. It's everywhere, and people are pushing to make it go the places that it's not. So you need to know how to use it. You need to know how to interpret it, how to know when it's hallucinating and not telling the truth, or how to use it so that you kind of bypass the issues that are baked into specifically LLMs, which are the AI that's really being ChatGPT, Claude, all these things are LLMs, right? So that specifically has its limitations, and we need to know how to deal with those, is my basic point here. So we'll talk about it. You may use it. You don't have to use it. So here I want to take a little brief pause from this presentation here to actually look at the syllabus. So let's look at that really fast. Didn't have it open. Here we go. So let's go over it real fast. I won't read everything on here, but I will read the important parts. So this is here for you to look over. All the information you really need for the whole semester is here, aside from the class information, but all the general information about the course and expectations, all of that is here. So English 102 furthers the composition skills developed in English 101, focusing on critical reading, writing, and research. Students will write expository, which means explanatory, they're essays that explain, and persuasive essays using literary and or interdisciplinary materials, meaning you might be writing about books or news stories in the real world or technology. You can use materials from other disciplines when writing in this class. So hopefully you already took English 101 or you tested out of it and don't need to take it. We don't have any scheduled meetings. Everything is in Canvas. Here's my instructor information. Once again, my name is Colleen Zollinger. I'm an adjunct professor here at CWI. You can copy and paste this link. It's not clickable, but this is the link to my drop-in hours, which I have Monday at 4 to 5 p.m. is what I'm doing now, but I may change those. I wanted to kind of ask students when would be the easiest time for the class to actually meet with me outside of class time, and maybe change that. So maybe that might be changed to like after work hours or early morning hours or something. I'm going to have a poll about it here this next week. But for right now, for the first few weeks of class at least, it will be Mondays from 4 to 5 p.m. So you can reach me anytime by email. I have notifications on my Outlook on my phone. So if you send me an email to my CWI email, I will get a notification. So that usually means I'll look at it pretty much immediately or whenever the next time that I possibly can. So you should get quick feedback or answers from me. I try to be as available to you as possible. If you can't make it to my drop-in hours and you want to meet on Zoom, that's great. I'm happy to do that outside of those hours. I can do it many other times during the week, but just email me and we can schedule something. If you have an emergency, something's going on with the computer, I don't know, someone dies right before class and you need to tell me, there's my phone number right here. I prefer that you contact me by email if possible, but if you need my phone number, that is fine. I've had plenty of students text me, call me, and I don't mind it. But if you can email me, that's the best way to get a hold of me. So here are the learning outcomes. These are the things that we're trying to learn in this course. If you've taken 101, you've seen these before. These are shared across the department. So we want to use flexible writing process strategies to generate, develop, revise, edit, and proofread texts. Adopt strategies appropriate to the rhetorical situation, meaning depending on who the audience is and what we're trying to do, we might use different strategies to convince them of something. Locate, evaluate, organize, and use research material collected from a variety of sources appropriate to the rhetorical situation. Again, when we're looking for information and we're finding sources, we might be thinking about what kinds of sources are going to be effective here. Which ones will the audience be expecting? Which ones will they trust? That can be helpful in thinking about which sources to actually use. But again, we are always going to be focusing on those peer-reviewed sources if possible, because those are the highest quality that we can find. Develop claims, Oh, sorry, I skipped one here. Use rhetorically appropriate strategies to represent and respond to the ideas and research of others. When we find our sources, how do we use it? How do we talk about it? Develop claims and sources that acknowledge nuance and are supported by a well-developed evidence-based reasoning and are shaped by multiple viewpoints. So when we come to an issue, we might see lots of different people's opinions. How do we take all those opinions and make sense out of them and come to some agreement? Use rhetorically appropriate conventions for citing and documenting source material. I think that one's self-explanatory. And participate in a respectful and inclusive community of writers and readers. This one is really important. Showing our writing is really nerve-wracking, even for people who consider themselves writers, who have written good things. It's still scary to show your work to other people. So it's really kind of necessary for an English classroom to feel safe for all students. So we want to be respectful to others. There may be, at a community college like CWI, we may have people from all sorts of walks of life. We might have people fresh out of high school. We might have people who are retired and going back to school, or in the middle of their career and needing to get a degree to move forward. We might have immigrants or refugees from other countries. There's lots of different kinds of people that might be in any given English classroom. So bringing them all together, making them all feel like they're in a place they belong and can share their deepest thoughts that they've put into their own writing, that is crucial. Because again, getting that feedback from other people, two heads are better than one. A whole classroom of heads are better than one, right? We want to be able to show our work to each other and feel good about doing it and get good feedback. So that requires that we show each other that we can be respectful, we can be kind, we can give good, appropriate, helpful feedback. All of these things are kind of what we're going to be working towards throughout the semester to make this feel a safe and inclusive environment for every writer that comes into the classroom or enters into Canvas, since we're not in a physical classroom, I guess. Course assessment, there are no tests for this course. Your grade will mostly come from your 3 major essays and the reflections that you write about those. We'll go over exactly what those will look like again later. But there's no test, there's no final, there's no midterm, so you don't need to use honor lock. You're not going to have to go to get a proctored exam in a computer lab or anything like that. This class is assessed on your writing through your major writing assignments. So my grading policy, the grade levels, 90 to 100% is an A. All of those things are standardized across CWI, so that should look very familiar. But the important things from this section is you can always revise your essays. Once I've given you feedback, you can revise essay 1 all the way up until the end of the semester to get a better grade. That might be difficult in this course for many of you because, again, this has a really quick turnaround time because we're doing the 8-week class instead of a 16-week course. But up until the last day of class, you can always turn in revisions of any of your major essays or reflections to get a higher grade, revising them based on the comments that I'll give you. And the late work policy. As long as work is turned in a timely manner, I am not so worried about due dates. Things happen. Again, this is a community college where we may have people who are working, who are, there's a lot of things that might be going on for students here. And so I feel like in order to be equitable, we need to be a little more flexible on late grades. So I do not penalize you for late grades unless it's really, really late. But if you are having trouble keeping up, if something happens, again, like your parents die in a car crash, something horrible that we won't wish on our worst enemies, but it's like a life-changing event. That could happen in the middle of the semester, and you may find that is difficult emotionally and time-wise to do the work. So you may fall behind for any number of reasons, or you might be afraid that you're going to. Try to stay on top of it as much as you can, but be in contact with me. If you're going to miss a deadline, let me know beforehand. And I'm happy to work with you. I'm happy to support you if I can in getting this done in a timely manner and turned in. So again, I don't really give late grades unless they are substantially late. In the 16-week course, I have like each course is like broken into 3 units. So my policy in my other classes is like any work in Unit 1 can be turned in without a late grade all the way until Unit 1 is done. So this course isn't really structured that way in Canvas, so you can't really see that. But basically, any of the work that's due before the first essay is due, if you can get it done by the time you turn in essay number 1, I'm not going to give you a late grade. If you need more time than that, again, stay in contact with me. If you're showing that you are trying to show up, that you're like willing to do some work, even if things are hard for you, you're sick and in the hospital, whatever it might be, we can work around that. As long as you're in contact with me, then I can see that you are like willing to go the extra mile. You're willing to do what you need to do. You care about what your grade is here, and you're trying to learn the material. If I can see that, I'm not going to just give you a 0 or fail you. I'm going to try to do something for us to figure out how to make things work. So again, this just means it's really up to you to stay in contact with me. I'm not going to like jump through hoops to make sure you pass the class if you've never talked to me. But if you're talking to me and you're struggling and there's good reasons why, there are things that we can do. I can extend deadlines. I can offer other resources. There's lots of things we can do. So again, no late penalties unless it's really late, but stay in contact with me if you're late. Don't just turn everything in late and think that's going to be okay. I hope that makes sense, the distinction here. All the materials you need will be in Canvas. There are readings and folders in Canvas. So those are the readings that you'll have to do. Is no outside textbook. You don't need to go buy anything from the bookstore. Everything will be in Canvas. There'll be links, there'll be PDFs. It's all there for you. This is the instructional conversation. You'll see this on all your syllabi. But basically, I'm going to teach you through Canvas. I will instruct you through these videos, through the things that are posted to Canvas. I will communicate with you through email. I will put your grades, which you can access through Canvas by clicking on My Grades. I will inform you through Canvas announcements if there's any changes to the schedule or anything like that. And I'll facilitate using the discussion board where you'll have to make weekly posts and replies. Those will be like a bulk of your smaller assignments over the semester. Will be what you write in the discussion board and then the replies to your peers' posts as well. As a student, what you're going to be expected of you is that you're going to read and review all course materials as assigned in Canvas. You'll submit your work in Canvas, and you'll participate in the discussion board as well as completing coursework. Below that, you'll see a schedule breaking down. Number 1, it shows you which modules you're going to be required to complete each week. So this week, I don't have the intro module here as well. So there's technically 3 this week. One's really short and doesn't have assignments, but you need to go look through it, right? So the course modules 1 and 2, the course introduction and exploratory writing, part 1, I should say. We're going to look at exploratory writing for several other modules as well. But here's when things are due as well for this week. So this week, things that are due. On the 4th, that's on Thursday, you'll have some assignments due Thursday, some assignments due Sunday before the next week of class starts. So your academic engagement survey is due by the 4th. Please do that. That is in that introduction module that's not mentioned here. There's a discussion board post where you introduce yourself. There is another post that you'll do about experiences with peer feedback. All of these things are due by Thursday on the 4th. Uh, and then a reflection essay, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, is due. And then on Sunday, you'll have a reply to your peers post due, as well as an assignment called Essay 1 Research Question Post. Again, it'll be on the discussion board. Those are due Sunday at midnight, 11:59, before class starts next week. So this week we're doing modules 1 and 2. Week 2 we'll do 3 and 4. Week 3 we'll do 5 and 6. Your final draft of Essay 1 will be due on the Sunday of weeks of this week here. 7 and 8 here, 9 and 10 there, etc. So always be looking here. The due dates are also built into Canvas as well. But if you're wondering what the course is going to look like the sequence of the course, please look here. All of the assignments that you'll turn in are on here. This is the academic student engagement survey is what is due by Thursday. This is really important because this is how CWI tracks how many students are in each class, who's active, etc. This is how things get reported to your financial aid. So please don't skip this and think that it's not important. It is important. Please do it and get it in on time. You'll need to know how to use Microsoft Office or Google Docs and upload things on Canvas. If you don't have the skills that are required for this class, which it goes through here, you can go to the IT help desk, or there are tutoring services that can also help you figure out, how do I upload things to Canvas? Or feel free to always ask me if something's not working. I'm happy to get on Zoom and let you share your screen with me and guide you through the process. The civility and behavioral expectations, these are the same that you'll see on every syllabus at CWI. We're trying to be respectful and kind here. That's the gist of it. In my classroom, I always refer back to the golden rule. Just treat others like you'd want to be treated. I think that's a good way for adults to look at it. It makes sense to all of us. We know what's nice. We know how we like to be treated. None of us like to be disrespected, right? So if you have questions about what constitutes bad behavior, look here or check out the student handbook. Academic integrity, this again is pretty standard across CWI, so you should have seen that before. This is my AI policy. Again, you can use it, and you can use it in pretty much any stage of the writing process, but there's kind of good ways to use it and ways that aren't really appropriate to use it. We'll go over those as we get into class. But what you really have to do is write an acknowledgement statement saying that you wrote this paper using AI, and you'll say how, and you'll provide chat logs. You won't have to worry about honor lock again because we don't do any testing in this class. Title IX is required by law to be in all of the syllabi. So again, you should have seen this before. This information should not be new to you. If you have questions about it, check it out on the syllabus. There are clickable links here to make reports, etc. So if you need to do anything like that, look at the syllabus first. Here are other resources on campus and electronically that are here for you at CWI. I really highly recommend the Writing Center or the Tutoring Center. I worked at the Writing Center at St. Mary's, where I was doing my graduate work, and I think that the models that for teaching that Writing Centers kind of use right now are pretty effective, and they can really help you kind of see what's going on with your writing and what could make it more effective. So that's all information on the syllabus that I think we need to go over. So let's go back to my slides here. So here's what you should be looking at in Canvas. We'll look at Canvas and see where all these things are here in a moment. But what you need to do first in this class is the Getting Started module. This is in every Canvas course. So again, this shouldn't be new information to you, but that's where you'll find the link to my drop-in hours, information about me as your instructor, and a place to ask general course questions. You can always ask a question in there. It will tell me that you did, and I can come answer you there, or also students can come and answer you there as well. There are major assignment sheets. Only the first one is available to you right now, but as we get the assignments, all of them will be available. You'll see this is like the second thing kind of at the top of Canvas. So that's the easiest place to find the assignment sheets or the prompts for the major writing assignments. And then, of course, there'll be weekly modules with all the content and deliverables that you need to do this class. Because, again, there are 2 due dates per class, Thursday and Sunday. Content will be due Thursdays. Content due Thursday should be turned in before class, but that is not required. Peer feedback, and that doesn't really apply to us since we don't meet as a class. Peer feedback discussions run nearly every week with initial posts due Sunday and responses due Thursday. So you'll see those as well in the Canvas, where you give feedback on parts of people's essays, etc. And yeah, I think we'll skip this today, but I will post these slides along with the this lecture, this video of the lecture, I should say. These are some interesting questions to think about in regards to AI, to kind of prime us for what we'll use it for in the coming weeks. So if we were having a class in person or online, we would have a discussion about these. But take some time, take 5 or 10 minutes to ask yourself these 2 questions and write about them. And feel free to send me your answers in an email. I would be very interested to see what your experience with AI has been so far and what you think about it. It won't be for a grade, but I would be happy to send you some feedback, and that will be a good way for us to kind of formally meet and for me to get to know a little bit about who you are. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is just kind of look at the modules and show you what's due this week. So again, the first thing you'll see is this Getting Started module. You should go through all of this. Oh, and before I go on, I should mention, I have the teacher version of Canvas up, so yours will look ever so slightly different than mine. Yours won't have these green dots for with checks on, for instance, that tell me that you can see it on my end. So it may look slightly different, but don't let that fool you. All of these things are there in the same place on your end. So you know, and then like things like this you can't see. That's for me. But there's an introduction to the course. There's my information here on Meet the Instructor, my name, my email, my phone number, a little biography of me, student resources. These were on the syllabus. So look at all these. This is where the academic engagement survey is. Please do this by 11:59 p.m. on Thursday. Then again, like I said, the second thing you'll see are the major essay assignment sheets. This one will be viewable to you. The others will be there, but they are not set for you to be able to view them until we get there. So you can always click on the prompt for this first major essay here. That's the easiest way to find it. Then for week 1, you will be responsible for module 1 and module 2. So you'll see all the assignments here. There's an introduction. Read this first. It just kind of goes over how we're going to use Canvas. Tells you things to do, some readings that you should do, a discussion board post, introduce yourself, post your experiences with peer feedback is another post that you'll do this week. Again, due by the 4th, 11:59 p.m. And then you'll have replies due on Sunday the 7th. You'll have 2 of those, 2 replies. So 1 reply to two different classmates. And then reflection essay 1 will be due June 4th as well. And then here's module 2, more readings, some example essays. Those are the replies that you'll have to have done. And then here's another post that you'll do next week. Reply by Sunday. 3 replies to your peers by the following Thursday, when that's worth 20 points. So all of these should be pretty self-explanatory, but let's look at reflection essay 1, because this is the one writing assignment that you'll have to do this week. This isn't a formal essay though, so don't let it freak you out like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready to write an essay yet. I thought we'd have some more time. You will. But this is just a little bit of a way to reflect on the writing that you've done throughout your academic career and kind of prime us for doing real writing soon. So this isn't a formal essay. You won't need an introduction, body, or conclusion. We're going to be doing multiple reflections over the course of the semester, so this will kind of be practice for those. You could write paragraphs, or you can answer the questions in a bulleted list, or free write, whatever works for you. Just kind of make sure that you're answering the questions that are here in the prompt. There aren't specific word counts for each question, but 300 to 500 words, 300 to 500 words overall is probably a good amount for all of the questions together. I want to see that you're deeply thinking about these questions and considering them. We don't just want short yes or no answers. So there aren't right or wrong answers really, but there are. You will get if you don't give proper thought to these questions, I may not give you full credit. So here are the questions I want you to answer. What is a writing process? What is your writing process? How do you do it? Are you familiar with any of the following terms as they relate to writing communication? Explain what you know about each one that is familiar. So here's some words. If any of them are familiar, ones you've heard before, tell me what you know about them. You don't need to go look them up and give me the dictionary definition. I want to know, what do you already know? What makes sense to you already? What have you learned from the writing that you've already done? What experiences do you have using generative AI? What is your current personal philosophy about using generative AI? And then there's some optional items. You should choose one of them. Choose one to answer. You must answer one of them, but you don't have to answer all of them. So here's what will get you full credit, 300 to 500 words, responding to all of the required questions. I might give you 10 to 15 points if you answer some of them, it's really short, etc. And if you don't submit it, or you just don't respond to the prompt, really, I'll give you a 0. So I think we've gone over all of the major things that are kind of due this week. So remember, if you have any other questions, send me an email this week. Have a great rest of your first week, and there'll be another. I'll post another lecture on Thursday. So I will see you then.